going to be following along and recreating a glam that he did on Patrick Starrr, which took them almost 7 hours. I'm feeling really out of my comfort zone at this moment in time. Hello and thank you for clicking on this video. It has been a while since I did one of these videos, and I don't know why, because one, the Painted by Spencer video is literally my most viewed video on my YouTube channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link it down below. It's the same concept. And two, I really enjoy doing them. I learn a lot, they're really fun to make, but after seeing this video, I was like, I need to recreate this. I need to. It's not a want, it's a need at this point. Today we are going to be following along to a Makeup by Ariel tutorial. He did a video with Patrick Starrr where he revealed tons and tons of his secrets, like his little trade secrets, how he uses powder, his products that he uses, how long things take him, and that's the most shocking part. So today I'm going to be following along and recreating a glam that he did on Patrick Starrr, which took them almost 7 hours. That blows my mind, how someone can do makeup for that long. We're not going to take that long to do it. We're just going to follow along and probably speed it up a little bit. And if you've not watched one of these videos that I've done before, I don't use the same products as in the video because I don't have them all, so I always use an alternative. Sometimes they're more affordable, sometimes they're just things I've got in my kit, and I think it's a really good way to show that it's more about the techniques than the actual products that you use. So we are just going to get straight into it.
Today I have an amazing artist of today's generation. I am so honored to have the one, the only Makeup by Ariel de Hala extraordinaire, my friend.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. If you guys do not know who the fuck this is Makeup by Ariel. Has done the iconic faces of today, like Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, Rosalia, Shay Mitchell, Nikita Dragun as of late. He was gracious enough to carve me out into his schedule to do this wonderful video with me today.
I'm so nervous.
Shut the fuck up, you've been saying this for so long.
Okay.
So you start with the brows. Are my brows okay?
I always start with brows. No, they're a little hairy, but it's all good.
At least they have brows, bitch. Okay, so you start with brows.
Yeah.
This takes about an hour.
Realistically, yeah, like 45.
I'm like looking at your assistant over here. 45 for brows, okay.
Right? So right now, I am filling in your brows. I work at brows like a puzzle. So it's not like I have a very specific technique on how I do brows. It's more so like gauging where you need the most coverage, like brow coverage, and then going from there and starting to shape the brow really. So right here I was starting at the very arch of the top of your brow, but then like you'll see when I start the other brow, I might go in at the lower portion of the brow. It just, I work at it like a puzzle. So it's really, you kind of have to gauge where you need the most brow product.
Mm-hmm. You are also shaping my brows with a little switchblade, girl.
Oh. Okay, so he said that brows take him around 45 minutes to an hour, which to me is insane. I don't know how he can spend that long doing brows, but we're going to start off with brows the same as him. I'm just going to brush my eyebrow hairs in an upward motion, and this is just going to help me see where I need the most coverage. Like he said, he doesn't start off in a specific way, it's just where he feels the brow needs the most coverage. So I'm actually using a new product. This is a new Beauty Bay eyebrow pencil, and this is in shade Brownie. I got this maybe a week or two ago, I think it was, and I have been using it, and it's got such a fine nib on it. You probably won't see that. Okay, so I'm just going to start here at the arch the same way that he did. I definitely don't have as full a brow as Patrick, so we're just gonna fill them in, any gaps, and just give them a nice little bit of a shape. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the shape of that. He actually goes in and cleans up the brow a little bit after this step, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other brow and then I'll be back.
And featuring your first brush by Morphe, you are concealing.
This part is really special for me because aside from using the blade to give it the shape, this part just kind of like seals the deal and snatches everything into position. I think I was telling you this when I was filming, is that I don't like to use a shade that's too light. A lot of people tend to go with a super bright shade and like really highlight the brows, but you can see how natural that looks. Like
You see, I'm so stunned at this. Gorgeous.
So I'm going to get a flat brush and a little bit of the Milani concealer, and I'm going to carve out the brow just the same way that he did. I'm just going to use a smaller mirror to do this.
Wow. Finally, the Ariel brow.
Shut the fuck up.
Finally.
So now when I'm carving out the very top of the brow, I use a darker color that's closer to the skin tone because I don't like when it's super bright up there. The illusion I'm trying to create is that we just got our brows waxed or threaded, whatever we do. I don't like when it looks like super.
And then we're just going to go over the top the same way that he did and carve it out again.
So now I'm using like a synthetic blending brush. This brush allows me to, you know, apply like that cream concealer under the...
So we're just going to use that Milani concealer to bring it down onto the eye area.
And go over, and right here I'm
setting it. Yeah. And this is my lucky brush, you guys. This is one of my favorite brushes in my collection. This really does like allow to like set and seal the deal without disturbing anything, and it's also so small that it allows you to get into those small areas and have like more precise setting. I've had this brush with me forever. I just like recreated it for you guys because it's been in my kit since I first started doing makeup.
And if you guys didn't catch it, Makeup by Ariel sets the eyebrow as well, because once he started hitting my brow, I was like, wait a damn minute.
So he sets the brows, which I have never done before. So I'm just going to take a translucent setting powder, and this is the Ciate London one. Then we're going to set the brows. Now I do see what he means about the brows, that it softens them. They don't look as blocky and harsh anymore. It's just not something I would have ever thought to do. Okay, that's our eyes and eyebrows set.
And what are you doing right here? I think you're starting the eyeshadow process. Oh, by the way, you did set the eyebrows with the Ultimate Setting Powder by One's Eyes. Locked it in, and you're transitioning here.
Now I'm using my transition shade, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I tap the front of the brow so that that shade just like flows into the brow and starts my nose contour. So you'll see later on, it's what I'm doing right now. I'm blending it on the sides of the nose so that when I do his nose contour, it all just flows together and is like one cohesive thing.
But my eyes were closed the whole time, and I didn't want to look so I can watch it back.
Okay, so you're taking just like a really warm shade to do this, and I'm going to take my Morphe Flawless setting powder, and this is in shade 10, just because I've found that this is the perfect shade for doing like a transitional warm shade on the eyes. And I'm just doing what he said, popping a little bit at the front of the brow, and then we're taking this around as our transition shade. I do love how this connects everything.
Now I'm using like a more like flat precision like blending brush, and I'm going into his crease with a darker color from his palette.
Okay, so I don't have his palette, but I do have this Beauty Bay Going Out palette, and I'm going to use this shade here to do the darker bit. To be honest, I might need something slightly darker than this because it does kind of look dark. So, no, I guess that'll work actually. And then he's just doing that to define the crease. Just working a little bit at a time. Although we're not going to take 6 hours, take my time with this.
And this is allowing me to like really start to create that shape of his crease. I could have left it at this. Sometimes when I'm doing Kim's makeup or Kylie's makeup, this is really as far as we will go. And this is enough of a crease, even for Patrick, really. I think we took it a step further, and now I'm taking a more precise, like, pencil brush and really getting in there to create more definition.
So I'm just taking a little bit more of a precise brush, that, like you said, dipping it into pre-drinks, and we're just gonna define that crease a little bit more.
But here, what's different about my cutting the crease and yours is that I have the biggest brush to cut my crease just because I just want to get it done.
And I'm over here so detailed.
With it, I can't even see the fucking bristles on the brush.
I had mapped out his crease the way that his natural crease wants to go, which is a lot more rounded. But because I knew that we were going to contour his nose a lot smaller, I took in the crease and brought it like towards the bridge of the nose.
I'm going to use this brush, and this is a Morphe brush, and this is the Shade Out brush. And I'm just going to use that Milani concealer again. I'm going to put the brush into that and start carving out my own. So I don't think they've mentioned it, but I think he's moved on to setting it with some powder. So what I'm going to do to help it transition is just put a little bit more of that colour that we put on the outer before, just after. So what I'm going to do is just very, very lightly tap to create a more blended transition, like so. And then we're going to go over with the lighter colour.
Like Makeup by Ariel, like liner. I like to pull the eye out more this way versus this way.
And you told me to keep my eyes open. If
Yes.
you guys could see right here.
So right now what I was doing is I had him initially open his eyes so that I can map out where it was going to go. And then as soon as I have that, then I can have him close and perfect the line to where I want it to be. Because then you already have everything mapped out for you. And I start to fill it in before like extending the wing. I start to fill in like all the way towards like the tear duct of the eye. And I get really thin as I get to the front where it almost dissipates into nothing. Yeah, so now I start to build the very outer edge of the wing. So when I have them stare forward, what I'm trying to see is how I can pull the eyeliner in as straight as possible, right?
I am going to use a liquid liner though for this one. It'll give the same effect, it's just a different product basically, doing the same thing. Not gonna lie, I hated every minute of doing that winged liner. I hated it. I just am not a thick winged liner kind of girl.
All right, onto the face. You are using the Secure the Blur primer.
I don't have that primer, but I do have a blurring one, and this is the Eczema Rouge blurring primer. So I'm just going to squirt it onto the back of my hand, then apply it with a brush. Slightly thicker there than the other one. I'm gonna have to sort that out. Eyeliner on myself stresses me out. Eyeliner on other people is not too bad. I feel like you've got a much better view of what you're doing. That's better. Whew.
Here I forgot what I was doing. I forgot that I was working with a man. And he actually needed corrector initially, but it's fine.
Okay, so he has started to apply foundation. I am going to use the Maybelline Fit Me foundation today. This foundation on my face doesn't look like it matches, but it matches my neck because I'm tan. So I'm matching the foundation to my neck. So you've just gone over it with a beauty blender. So I'm going to go over the same way. Okay, so they're using a orange concealer to conceal the darker parts of his face, but I personally don't think I need that. So I'm going to skip on a little bit.
But really quick, right here, you're using a darker cream to sculpt.
No, not yet.
No, this right here.
Oh, I am. Yes. I'm using my contour brush.
So he's using a slightly darker cream foundation to start sculpting out the face. Is what I would normally do to contour. But I'm just going to go in a little bit lighter than I normally would because he doesn't go quite as much at this point with his. Okay, so I think my light might be dying. So just brightened it up, but yeah, if it starts going a bit, if it's gone a little bit dark up to now, that's why.
Yeah, crazy. Now we're going to highlight.
Yeah, we're using concealer now to highlight. I use like a concealer shade that's about like 2 shades lighter than this, 2 to 3 shades lighter than the skin tone. It looks a lot lighter right now. Realistically, I don't like to go lighter than 2 shades. And I'm using my concealer double-ended brush to really sharpen up the edge of the liner.
Okay, so we're going to go in with concealer now. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, and this is in shade Light Peach, which is great for the under eye. And we're just going to do the same placement that he did. And then he just blends it out with a beauty blender.
Seamless and the same. This is what I was talking about earlier, right here, when you do the concealer, because you don't touch this ever again after this. And I've always wondered how you get that.
Oh, the nose.
The nose. Like,
yeah,
it just
so
stays.
I leave the highlight on there for a while.
So he's also put some concealer on the nose area and just the centre of the brows, but he leaves the concealer in the centre of the nose. Okay, so my filming light died, which is just fantastic. I had it on charge for like 2 hours before I did this, so I have no idea why it died, but basically all I did whilst I was waiting was popped my lashes on, because you've seen me put lashes on a ton of times, and then I also very lightly set the under eye with some powder like he did in the video, because I didn't want the concealer to crease.
Using your One Size Ultimate powder, and we're making sure that everything is just like locked and set into place. If you're I'm so precise when I'm baking the bridge of the nose. I'm using like a wedge sponge.
Okay, so he's just setting the bridge of the nose using a wedged makeup sponge. So I have one here. I'm just going to use that Ciate London one again, and we're just going to pop it down the bridge of the nose.
So right now I'm using a puff, and I'm mixing your translucent powder. I mixed it so that the translucent powder was skin tonal. When I'm setting the face, I like everything to stay in the same undertonality of like what I've originally created, so that it doesn't take away from what I've put on the skin.
He used a mixture of translucent powder and a little bit more of like a skin toned pressed powder. So I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder, and I'm going to put my powder puff into that, and then I'm going to put it into some more of the Ciate London translucent powder. This powder puff was slightly bigger than mine, but it still should give the same effect. This is definitely now starting to feel like an Ariel look, that really like matte flawless skin.
So I'm using medium 2 at the center of the face. This is kind of just brightening those like highlights that we already applied and reinforcing them.
Okay, so he's gone back in with a lighter powder again for where he highlighted the face, so the under eye and the center of the forehead. I'm just going to use the Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder for this. At this point, I'm feeling very, very powdery, I must say.
Right here, you are reinforcing more bake, right?
Right, so now after I set everything with the foundation powders, we're going in with some actual setting powder. And just, this is like the final lock-in.
Oh my god, we're using more powder. But look, Ariel, I trust you. So I'm going to use the Huda Beauty powder for this under eye. And we're going to go in with more powder again. Feeling really out of my comfort zone at this moment in time.
So right here, I'm taking the color Booked in Patrick's palette, and I am buffing it underneath the lash line to create that really like diffused under eye look. This is kind of like my transition shade for the under eye.
So for the under eye, I'm going to use the pre-drinks again out of the Beauty Bay palette.
And I was so shook that you were taking a flesh tone pencil and using that in my waterline.
I did mostly at the outer corner of the eye.
And super precise here with the black eyeshadow. Not in the waterline, but just like right underneath
Outside
the lash line.
of the white, just to close it up a little, because sometimes the like nude could really open up the eye too much.
This is more like a gold toned pencil eyeliner for the waterline, just because it'll give the same effect. And I can't find my nude eyeliner, so we're just going to do that the same. Then I'm going to go in with the black shadow the same way that he did. That's just darkened it up a little bit.
It's just so insane.
So now I'm applying my first layer of blush.
First layer of blush. If you guys don't know, he had about 14 to 16 blushes, and all I saw was...
People are like, what blush does he use? And I'm just like, well, I'm using like 16 blushes.
There was like...
So I'm just going to go into 2 blushes. One of them is a Primark blush, and that is in shade Carnival. And then the NARS Orgasm blush. And I'm just going to use this angled brush and put it in both of those. We're going to start the apples of the cheeks and work our way up. So we did say the first layer, which means we have more to go. But that blush, like really high up, is such a signature Ariel look. Okay. So we're just going to dust off the bake on the under eye.
Now we're going to contour. This is dark 4, which is a golden.
I like to warm this bitch up because she looks a little ashy sometimes. Face this way.
Ooh.
Just kidding.
I'm so glad that we finally got to this point because my face needs bronzing up. So I'm going to take the Morphe powder in filter 10 again, and I'm going to bronze up the forehead. Oh, this makes me feel so much better. I felt a little bit like a fish out of water before we got to that bit.
And right here, you're taking the ultimate setting powder and cutting under the cheek.
And then I'm just going to take the Ciate London powder and we're going to cut. And he takes it all the way to the mouth.
By the way,
this is my second application of blush.
Okay, so we're going in again with another round of blush.
And now you're contouring the nose.
And we're just going to use the Morphe powder again so it all ties in really nicely together.
It's just like
Kylie never lets me do her lips. But it's not because I can't, it's just because I take this long doing it and she does it in 2.5 seconds.
She can do it with no mirror.
Yeah.
So for lip liner, I'm going to use Morphe Sweet Tea.
I am using a lip color that I will not speak on because it's discontinued and there's no point in me
The
saying.
lip colour I picked out is a Beauty Bay lipstick and that's in shade Tea. It's a matte pink colour and I kind of guessed it would be similar to what he put on. And then he's finally dusting the powder off of the middle of the nose. And then I'm just going to get rid of this because I think his is either gone or it's kind of sunken in. So it's just popping some highlighter in the inner corner and the bridge of the nose. Setting the spray, which is going to make me feel a lot less powdery. So I'm going to set with the Urban Decay Hangover Spray.
This completes the signature Makeup by Ariel Glam. Wow. Wow, you look sickening.
And here we have the finished look.
Make it work, strike a pose. Make it work, Jill dance. Make it work, strike a pose. I pull up, hop out, then I swerve. Do my two-step, my little catwalk, make it work. Make it work.
I'm blown away with this makeup. His techniques, his style, like it's just so Kardashian basically. I literally feel like one. I don't feel like I look like one, but I feel like I've got the makeup of one. So just as a little reminder, when I do these videos, it's a follow along to learn new technique and use products in a bit of a different way. So it's not intentionally to like completely copy the exact makeup look, but it's a follow along. It's how I interpret the makeup, how I would do it if I'm doing it on myself, which I am obviously. My liner's not as big and dramatic, and there are a couple of things that I didn't need to do that he did. He's just an incredibly talented artist, obviously. I love him and I love Patrick Starrr as well. I think he's absolutely hilarious. I love watching his videos. That is the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like and subscribe and please leave a comment down below. Thank you again for watching this video and I hope to see you here again very soon.
Make it work.